What's going on, everyone? It's time to do another horror film, Universal Classic Monsters horror film review. Yeah, been doing that for a while now, so we're continuing on with the Invisible Man franchise of that era, and yeah, this one's actually called The Invisible Woman. It's more of a sci-fi comedy than a horror film, but yeah, this is what I thought about it. But first, it's released by Universal December 27th, 1946. It was written by Robert Lees, Fred Renabal, and Gertrude Purcell. It was produced by Burt Kelly and directed by A. Edward Sutherland. He's also done other films like Beyond Tomorrow. It's The Old Army Game, The Flying Deuces, Mr. Robinson Crusoe, and a whole pile of others. So, yeah, this is a 1940s, more of a slapstick comedy done with the Invisible Man type formula, but with a woman. So, yeah. So, in The Invisible Woman, there's a girl who's lavishly attractive and everything, and she really likes this one guy and tries to learn more about him. And so she goes to a scientist who actually develops a serum to go invisible, and she tries it and it works out. So she finds it really interesting and slowly becomes obsessed with this guy, and goes and tries to learn about him. And then once he starts learning that she's there, they kind of start falling in love, and quirky things happen throughout, and it's sort of almost like a cat and mouse game of love. Basically, it's almost like the other Invisible Man films with almost like who done it. It's more like, who's this girl that's following me, the guy's trying to figure out. And you're watching this this girl that's invisible going on, and then the detectives get involved, and it gets even more quirkier. It becomes almost like a Three Stooges movie where they aren't the brightest, and all these slapstick gags start happening. It's actually pretty entertaining. It's a little hokey nowadays, looking back at this type of film. It's a lot of slapstick, which we don't see very much anymore. It's yeah, and some of the special effects are actually really good in this. Like when they're eating dinner and she randomly has a floating chicken leg and stuff like that, or with her undressing, taking the robe off, and there's nothing there and things like that. They really try to perfect the special effects, like the wire work and stuff, like near the end when they go outside, and then she fights off the detectives and thugs and stuff, and makes them drop into a 10-foot pool and stuff like that. It's pretty amusing to watch that. There is one downside with the special effects in this film, and that's when she's almost transparent, but you can still see the outline of her. They didn't seem to get that fully in the previous films, but this one, it's still amusing, and now it's just almost hokey. It's cheesy as hell watching it now. A lot of the terminology in this film too probably won't go well over these days if it was made today, but yeah, it's definitely an amusing little film. It's not scary by any means. This is more of a comedy with a sci-fi edge to it, and definitely a unique property that Universal has that I never even heard of this movie until I started watching that now, and it was pretty surprising to say the least. I did enjoy it. I thought it was fun and engaging. Some of the characters I didn't really care for though, and with the hokey comedic parts, it kind of gets in the way because some of the characters are trying to be more serious about it, and others don't believe it, and it kind of has this weird mishmash of the way the plot progresses, which is a little odd to follow along, but it's still an amusing little film. Definitely not one I'd go out of my way to watch over and over again. I'd watch The Invisible Man constantly and stuff. This one, not so much. It's still an amusing film. If you like The Invisible Man and The Invisible Man Returns, you'll probably enjoy this one a bit too. This one definitely takes the comedy first and everything else second, though. And yeah, but also if you're not familiar with old 1940s comedies back then, this one might be a little off-putting to you too. Also, it's in black and white, so a lot 50% of the people nowadays won't even check it out. But yeah, The Invisible Woman is a fun little engaging comedy, definitely something unique and odd from the 1940s that you'd never expect to see. And same with the next film that I'm going to be reviewing. But yeah, but this one, The Invisible Woman is still entertaining. You should definitely check it out if you like classic films like I do. And if you've been following along with this like box set that I'm going through, you should definitely check it out. I know this one and the film after it aren't really horror films, but they threw them in there because it has the Invisible Man sort of like formula in the set. So it kind of fits nicely, and it's kind of good to take away from the serious tone and watch just a full-fledged comedy for once. That's why it's always refreshing to watch the Abbott and Costello films at last after watching all the heavy-duty like Frankenstein movies and the Mummy movies and stuff. This one is pretty good just to have it right in the center. So yeah, The Invisible Woman is a fun little movie, but it's just one I wouldn't go. It's no Abbott and Costello. It's no Laurel and Hardy or Three Stooges film, but it still has some of that comedic charm that you find in those movies in this one. Just there is some odd choices, and I do love the end of this though. It's really amusing to watch and stuff. So with all that, I'm going to give The Invisible Woman a 3.5 out of 5. You should check it out. If you like old classic comedies and stuff, you will enjoy this one. And if you've just been watching all these old monster movies like I have, this one is definitely a fun film just to throw you off a bit, and watch something else that's a little bit more cheesy and quirky and fun, but still has some of the serious tones. So there's a trailer for it linked down below, like always. Also linked down below is my Instagram, where I was post clips of films I'm going to review in the future on my story. There's the film title hashtag and subgenre film hashtag, so you're aware of it. And my Letterbox is also down below at Derek P Reviews. That's where I post my first star rating right after watching the film. So follow me on one of those two platforms to stay in the loop with this channel. Like this video, share it so more people are aware of it. Comment your opinions of the film down below if you have any. And let me know what your favorite Universal Classic Monster film is if you have one. Love to hear your thoughts. And also if you have any films or film franchises that I want to hear my opinions on in the future, comment those down below too. I'll try my best to get to them as soon as I can and if I can find them. So yeah, but that's it for this one. Make sure you subscribe. So hopefully we find something weird, obscure, and odd for you to check out that you probably never thought of checking out together, or so you can hear my opinions on classic films like this one or popular films that have come out, because apparently I have quite the diverse opinions on those. So yeah, make sure you subscribe, and yeah, but make sure you ring that bell, because we're gonna be taking a break from the Invisible Man films and dive into one of the more iconic creature feature films from the late 40s, early 50s, and we'll be actually talking about finally the creature from the Black Lagoon in my next review. So make sure you subscribe and ring that bell, and watch out for all those visible ladies out there, and I guess causing havoc. And I guess we'll see you all in the next one. So until then, cheers.